Breaking news. The Democrats just can't stop humiliating themselves. Hold on to your seats, folks, because this is one spicy political mess you're going to want to watch until the end. Smash that like button, subscribe, and buckle up because this is one of those stories where the more you hear, the more you'll shake your head in disbelief. So here's the tea. For Democratic members of Congress decided it was a brilliant idea to hop on a plane to El Salvador for a photo op stunt. Try and make a big show of standing up for a deported MS-13 gang member. Yep, you heard that right. And oh, it backfired spectacularly. Let's start with Maxwell Frost, the unofficial ringleader of this little adventure. He gets grilled on Fox News. Congressman, why are you even in El Salvador? You represent Florida. You're here on behalf of a guy who lived illegally in Maryland. Frost's response? Well, we're here because a man who had protected status in Maryland, a union member, worker, citizen wife, beautiful children, was taken out of the country without due process. Cue the record scratch. The reality? This guy has been in front of 17 judges. He's had more due process than most everyday Americans will ever see in their entire lifetime. But the Democrats keep hammering this tiny administrative error, one unchecked box, as if it's some massive constitutional crisis. They're out here acting like Trump is going to start yanking up American citizens and tossing them on planes left and right. Let's be real. The message they're trying to send is completely drowned out by the fact that they picked literally the worst possible poster child, a violent MS-13 gang member with a rap sheet that makes you wince. Why are they doing this? Oh, because they need attention. They saw the media buzz when a Maryland senator pulled this stunt earlier, and now they're chasing the same headlines. Suddenly, it's a full-blown Democratic strategy. Fly to El Salvador, pester the government, and pose for pictures with a guy who's never coming back to the U.S. But wait, it gets even better. Maxwell Frost went on MSNBC and, with a straight face, admitted that their request to meet with a deported gang member was denied by the El Salvadorian government. We just got word at the embassy. Our request has been denied because we're not here on official business. Ouch! That's the diplomatic equivalent of getting the door slammed in your face. And here's the kicker. They actually tried to get taxpayer money to fund this whole trip, but they were hilariously and publicly denied, forced to dip into their own pockets for this pointless publicity tour. Big shout out to the El Salvadorian government, by the way, for making it clear. This country is not your political playground, America. Think about this. These Democrats could have picked literally any cause to champion back home. An inner-city kid denied justice? Sure. A homegrown American wrongly imprisoned? Definitely relatable. But no, they chose to stand up for an illegal immigrant with a criminal record. So bad it's practically a horror story. It's shameless. Pure performative theater. They're out here staging political stunts just to post on social media and yell, "Look, we're doing something." Meanwhile, the rest of America is watching, confused and wondering how this circus act benefits anyone, even within their own party. People are asking, how does sticking up for this guy help your constituents? Newsflash. He's not coming back to America. Ever. The Democrats are too busy chasing headlines to focus on actual battles we're fighting, like lowering government corruption, addressing real human rights issues, standing up for victims like Lake and Riley, or even working across the aisle to cut unnecessary spending. Instead, they're the party that won't join Republicans to end foreign wars, won't stand up for fair trade, and won't even agree on keeping men out of women's sports. It's honestly embarrassing. Now, let's talk about the Maryland senator who did this first. He went on Fox News and was bluntly asked, who paid for this trip? The senator's awkward response? Oh, it was an officially cleared congressional trip. Taxpayer funded. Bingo! Imagine the sheer arrogance it takes to think that sipping margaritas with an MS-13 gang member counts as official government business worthy of taxpayer dollars. Thank goodness for James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, who denied the funding request for these four new wannabe political tourists. Here's Comer, laying it out plain and simple. They showed no concern during the Biden investigation, no concern over the Border Patrol or violations at the southern border. But for this one media-hyped deportee, they wanted to burn taxpayer money on a photo op and margaritas in El Salvador. Nope, not happening on my watch. And honestly, you have to ask, Reitero, why does the Democratic Party constantly put every other group struggle ahead of black Americans? Reitero illegal immigrants? Priority. Reitero the trans community? Priority. Reitero Ukraine? Priority. Democrats consistently tap into black voters' energy and loyalty, only to divert that support into causes that often have nothing to do with them. And they use fear tactics to push it. If you don't back this, you're next. It's political theater at its worst, and it's starting to show. So, here's the fiery opening shot. You got to stand up to illegal MS, 13 members getting deported, because if you don't, Trump's coming for you next. You got to stand up for trans rights and men's rights to participate in women's sports, because if you don't, Trump's coming for black people's civil rights next. Whoa, that's the warning shot. But here's the kicker. The speaker says they don't understand how black Americans can't see through this political facade by now. Next up, the heat rises. They're calling out black Democrats who keep pushing for reparations. Why? Because, as they put it, 12 million illegal immigrants have been brought into the country over the past 4 years, and their lives are fully funded by the government. Meanwhile, black Americans are still waiting on reparations. Even more eye-opening. Inner-city black kids struggling to read or write, but city governments are laser-focused on boosting inclusivity programs and pouring resources into helping migrant children with English as a second language. A jaw-dropper moment. Remember when that school in a black neighborhood in Chicago was closed down for lack of funding? Yep, it was later reopened to house migrants. That memory clearly left a mark. The speaker makes it clear they don't believe black people are oppressed, but they argue the Democrat message constantly pushes a narrative that black Americans are oppressed, that America is systemically racist and unjust. But then at every turn, the Democrats seem to prioritize every other marginalized group over black Americans. Sharp contrast drawn. Republicans, they say, believe black people are just as capable as anyone else. No special quotas. No handouts needed. Democrats? The speaker says they paint black Americans as helpless, needing government support, and only able to succeed if the bar is dramatically lowered. And now, get this, the Democrats are picking an MS-13 gang member to throw their support behind. Cue the press conference moment. After getting shut down hard by the El Salvadorian government, Congressman Maxwell Frost and his crew hold a press conference. They argue the U.S. Supreme Court says this gang member has a right to due process back in states. Here's what they said. We just had a meeting with the embassy and left with zero indication that this administration is going to facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia back to the U.S. So he can go through due process. But we got to be clear, this isn't just about him. This is about every single person in the United States. The Constitution applies to all people in our country. But hold up, the speaker fires back, saying that framing is wildly dishonest. They argue this wasn't some poor guy plucked off the street at random. This man has had multiple hearings, multiple deportation orders, multiple judges involved. How many more levels of due process does one need? United States, and here's the bombshell. The gang Garcia was supposedly fleeing from? It doesn't even exist anymore. But when Democrats are presented with that fact, they hand-wave it away, saying, well, argue it to judge. Due process. The speaker makes it clear Republicans were elected with a mandate to deport illegal immigrants. It can't be that Democrats import millions and then, when Republicans take office, they're blocked from deporting any of them. That, they argue, is a surefire recipe for a national uprising. Next explosive point. Democrats smugly ask, well, who's going to pick your crops for slave wages? Americans won't. The speaker slams this as inhumane, calling it out for sounding eerily similar to pro-slavery arguments of the past. If we don't have slaves, who's going to pick the cotton? They say Democrats have no shame, no moral high ground here, and absolutely no clue how bizarre they look defending an illegal gang member just to score political points against Trump. But wait, the finale heats up. Radical Democrat Congressman Jamie Raskin steps into the spotlight, warning they plan to retaliate against Republicans if they regain power. His words, "We are not going to look kindly upon people who facilitated authoritarianism in our country. That's an assault on our Constitution and our people. The speaker reacts sharply. See, that's the danger of falsely labeling your opposition as authoritarian or Nazi. You start justifying violent retaliation, political violence, and weaponizing the legal system, all in the name of saving the country. And that, they argue, is what makes the Democrat approach terrifyingly fascist. That's the same playbook dictators use when jailing political opponents. Oh, this person's a traitor to the country, a threat to our survival. In short, the speaker says Democrats despise anyone who thinks differently, and their open desire to keep illegal immigrants in the country is the ultimate proof. Final thought. They wrap up by saying it's sad a major American political party has gone down this road. But part of them hopes they keep going, because if Democrats openly run on political revenge, that's the best argument against letting them regain power. And that's a wrap. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss a video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned, because this political saga is far from over.